3, 2, 1.
You're getting worse with the clapping as the episode goes on.
9 in the morning show. God, we've been doing this for like 2 hours.
All right, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 51 of That Range Life, a show sometimes about golf. With me, as always, is Bill Bush of At Range Heroes. I'm Chris McEwen at Chris McEwen across the social media. Fun show today. We've got one of our favorite pieces of gear that will also sort of tie into our current, ooh, that was hot, our current contest that you can actually win the piece of gear that we are going to talk about in Gear Talk today, which is very exciting. Yep. The competition is live. The sweepstakes is live. The drawing is live. Hopefully everyone enjoyed the premiere. Everyone enjoyed the match play episode. If you haven't, I'll put a card somewhere over Bill's head, maybe, that you can go and check it out.
The match play episode being match play of what?
Tour Edge.
Yeah, you haven't said the brand yet, so.
That's right. Tour Edge E521 versus C521. And that ties in. So if you haven't already entered the sweepstake, you still have time. We have 2 weeks running where you can go and enter. You do some things to qualify, and you will win that very exact.
You can't do this every week.
Fairway wood.
Every week.
There you go. There you go.
I don't know what's in focus. Oh, that's not bad.
There you go. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's the one.
Confirmed. It is a 4-wood, and it says 4 on it.
Okay.
I don't know. I think it was a driver. We were getting confused with that, the marketing label. But 17-degree 4-wood.
Perfect. All right. So if you're curious of everything about that 4-wood that we are going to give away, stay tuned for Gear Talk. We will cover it and talk about it just a little bit. The other thing that we have going today is that in advance of a new segment that we'll be doing, we are going to talk to our new sort of partner in this whole YouTube thing.
Partner. It's like somewhere between, partner, collaborator, correspondent, friend, just
and Bill Bush, pitching savior, short game savior.
I forgot the word we used way back in the day. Soothsayer.
That's right. Andy Gorman. So Andy has agreed to do some things for us for this show. And we're going to go and we're going to introduce Andy and talk to him a little bit. So you get a feel for what he's about, what we're going to do with him, all those kinds of things. And finally, if you haven't noticed,
yep,
William, how you feeling about the new gear?
Right there. We've used them a few times now in testing and then other stuff we've been working on. And I got to tell you, I was doing this a lot in the beginning on purpose. Like I won't be doing this too much. Yeah. But our old mics, it was nice if we had to take a drink because you just did a quick little bloop. Now we can still do it. I can do this right here and you won't. There, it's back on. Right. But now I feel like, I want to take a sip of water and it's going to sound, it's so much harder. So you're either going to get like all this moving around, but you're going to get,
Well, do it off mic. If you just do it off mic, like if I go over here, you can't hear me anymore.
But you can a little bit. Either way, we could just seamlessly sort of block out the noise with a quick tap.
Right.
Now you have to, flip the switch.
You got to flip the switch.
So look, we got new equipment. We just got to get used to it. We'll find it. We'll find our stride.
But you're seeing us evolve as a show. Like I have a different background today, because I'm not doing it's too bright. We're actually doing the show during the day, which is weird. But yeah, anyways, we've got new mics. That's right. Oh, you're going to see this a lot out of Bill. I can feel it.
I just don't want to sit like that anymore. So we're just going to rap about some things. It's going to be great. Now, here's the best part. I got to figure out how to get it back in.
I can already hear myself, I think, sometimes going hot because I'm too loud and too close to the mic. So anyways.
Well, in a lot of ways, it's more natural. But then at the same time, you're like, wait, am I getting in the right spot here? I can't tell. So what are you going to do?
All right. Enough of this nonsensical thing. Before we move on, I forgot to call out everyone, subscribe, hit the bell on the channel. If you're on Bill's site, do the same thing. Just click on that little YouTube thing. It'll pop up and then do the same thing. And then go back to Bill's website and watch the video and read and all that good stuff.
Click every link you can on my website.
That's right.
That's great. We'll have your talk in this because we're talking about the Tour Edge Hot Launch 521 Fairwoods. There's a link down beneath this. If you're on my site watching this, down here, there's a link that says go read the reviews. You can do that. You can also, if you don't want to click on the video to go to Kris's page, there's also subscribe to Kris's page and follow him on Instagram on there. So check it out. Please do that stuff. Hey, comments are starting. I mean, Scoob just busting chops every goddamn episode. But
but now we got Rich. Rich comes in and has comments and his thoughts on things, which is great.
I want Rich to know I absolutely, when it's time to get a new car, I said, let me look and consider value and long term and reviews or whatever. And my first choice for my new car was either an Acura or a Honda based on longevity. But again, to your luxury point, I chose Acura first. So maybe that tells you something, Rich.
There you go.
Just saying, pal.
It was an insightful, thoughtful comment, though. I thought it was, he was giving his kind of breakdown.
I think that's like, it's almost sort of the beauty of it. His point being, like, everyone thinks of, and I think this is like the golf business in general. Everybody sort of thinks, oh, Callaway, TaylorMade, Titleist, Ping. And I'm like, you know what? If you said to me, blind eye, what are the top brands to go look at for a new driver? Callaway and TaylorMade. I wouldn't even have, Titleist wouldn't even been in the discussion in my mind based on history. Wouldn't have even been in that discussion. Ping, I always forget about. And it doesn't mean they're bad. By no means it's bad. Like they're not in the same amount of bags, whatever, right? And I think like that's sort of the point of it. It's one of those things everyone thinks, oh, this is the way golfers think. It's not. It's very much a unique. This is what catches people's eyes. This is how. And I don't really think it was an insightful comment. If you want to know what the comment is, go back, go to episode 50, watch the whole thing. But while you're there, then go down to the comments,
right,
and take a look at this. So I do think that was a interesting perspective. I mean, Titleist golf balls for sure. Like if you think go buy the best golf ball, it's like Pro V1.
Right.
Anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about.
All right, let's get going with the show. We've got a lot to cover. Let's do some gear talk. So as promised, the fairway wood that is up for grabs in the Tour Edge E521 versus C521 Match Play Challenge is what we're covering today. It's we're going to cover both. We're going to cover Bill's C and my thoughts on the E as well. So these are the HL 521 fairway woods. William, why don't you start with the giveaway item, the C521 fairway wood?
Okay.
4-wood, technically.
So let's address that. I have a 4-wood because we put our Hot Launch 521 sets together for the match play video that came out 2 days ago.
Yeah.
They gave me a 4-wood to really, they're only giving me one fairway wood, smooth out the gap between my hybrid, my irons. And so it was a good, I wasn't getting 2 fairway wood. So 4-wood was good for my setup. And, I will tell you, I don't think if you're like, oh, it's all right though, because they're so long and you're going to get all these extra yards. That's why you want to play higher loft. Like it's not the case. It launched and carried, and I got the distance I would expect to get out of a 4-wood, just a little shy of my usual 3-wood. That said, it's plenty long. The C521, HL C521.
HL, right.
I mean, I was still carrying the thing on average in my testing, 250 yards, getting 270-ish total. So I think a 3-wood equivalent, I'd probably get about 10 more yards. But I mean, obviously, I think that's especially for who this club, which I will talk about in a second, is geared towards.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. So The C series, like the rest of them, more competitive player, it is not designed to necessarily be left full of forgiveness and, just a cheat, as much of a cheat code as you keep saying about the E series. That said, it is very forgiving. It is very easy to launch in the air. It has a low and back center of gravity, which promotes higher launch, higher spin. That means it's going to hold in the air for you longer. One thing I'll say, because it doesn't have offset and it doesn't have any draw bias, it's designed for somebody who isn't looking to have a lot of correction in their shot. They are able to keep control their fade, control their draw, hit their straight ball. So if you make a bad slice swing, it's going to slice. If you make a bad hook swing, it's going to hook. So keep that in mind. That said, that low and back center of gravity does make it easy to get in the air and get it carrying. I mean, I can't stress enough how easy it is. And it's very smooth, has the same stock Dilla Rogue shaft in it that it has, I don't know the ins and outs of that shaft choice they made, but it is super smooth. It's very easy to load and unload and just make a nice, easy, smooth swing at and get a good shot. Looks good. This forward looks incredible. It has a pretty traditional looking shape. I would say it's almost compact. It's not super compact, but it's a nice, good looking fairway wood profile. It goes back to a lot of the theme we keep repeating of it's a $150 club, and it looks as good from address as any premium players to like medium players fairway wood out there. It's not I mean, look at it right here. Just the face is like a nice medium depth. It's a little, I'd say medium, maybe getting to a little bit larger depth. It's not super shallow and pancakey like a more forgiving game improvement fairway wood. But I mean, the profile is fantastic. I would not expect to see this on $150 fairway wood, brand new. Sleek black crown, marble. Is this the early morning
metal challenges?
Metal flake, marble flake. Hey, challenge to Tour Edge custom department. I want to see marble flake in the next series of fairway woods. Metal flake. And I don't know if this is a big deal to anyone else, but Tour Edge brand's been around a real long time, maintained its identity, has a new Tour Edge logo as an alignment aid, and it's awesome.
It is awesome.
I really like the new logo.
Totally agree. Yeah. And
I don't know, it's as a Glen Ellen boy growing up with Tour Edge, I'm just so desperate to see the new logo, but I really like it. So maybe I'm giving it a few extra hometown points. I don't care. Looks good. So it's like I said, it's easy launch. Now there's two things I want to speak to specifically, like the C series driver, which is $230 and has diamond face technology in it. The fairway wood has diamond face technology in it at $150.
That's the most insane part about the price and the quality. I mean, they're taking stuff from their top line, their 220 EXS stuff, and they're putting it in the C series of 521s, which is just incredible. Between that and the sound diffusion bar too, right?
A form of, it's not exactly the same.
Yeah.
Looking at the sole again, it's a little different. But while we're there, let's talk about sound in it. So it doesn't have this big fancy sound diffusion bar and titanium combo braze or whatever, right? It's half the price, and it sounds fantastic. It's a nice, it is a little metallic. I think Tour Edge fairway woods tend to have a little more metallic tone to it, but it's almost like just a little ping, just a little subtle ping. Yeah. Sounds fantastic. And that diamond face, again, very forgiving, gives you a much bigger sweet spot, minimizes your damage on your miss hits quite a bit. And if you haven't watched any of the other shows we've done where we talked about diamond face, think of them as a bunch of like differing little diamonds all connected together, like almost honeycomb-ish, but diamond shape. behind the face, inside the head, differing sizes and thicknesses. So they maintain a certain degree of COR. Think of that as pop across the face for your miss hits and for when you hit it well. So you get more speed, more forgiveness, makes a big deal. On top of that, they have a speed channel, which is, we've seen those from brands across golf for a while now, but a speed channel just behind the face, which helps the face and the head flex. And, I like doing this on here. It flexes and then goes like this, meaning energy transferring back out and exploding the ball. Again, that trampoline effect. So for $150, it's awfully fast, awfully long, and for a player shape, fairway wood is very forgiving. You still need to be able to put the right direction on it. But if you're like, hey, I want to be able to take a pretty effortless swing and get good long results out of it, this one will do it for you. And I'll continue to say $150 brand new on the market. It's going to be tough to find a competitor for this one. I mean, think about it. These guys are arguably I would say the best fairway wood makers in the game and have been for a long time. Maybe when Adams back in the day was at their height, they might have competed in fairway woods and hybrids, but like, I don't think, there are a lot of really good fairway woods in the market. Mm-hmm. No, I think Tour Edge I do think Tour Edge is that good, and they're doing it in a $150 package. That's really close to as good as their $300 fairway wood.
Right.
Like, I'm getting to a point. Hey, let me put a gamer shaft in here. This could save me some money. Just saying.
Yeah.
Quick reminder. I'm saying all these glowing things about it. We're giving mine away. All right. I will be honest with you. Took me a little adjusting because it's not my gamer club. There are some sky marks toward the toe, but it's free. And it's a good giveaway. It'll be one of the, you'll be like, man, for liking a YouTube video and subscribing, this was worth it. Trust me. It's a great fairway wood. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
I have thoughts on the E, like we've done with all these reviews we've talked about. I have thoughts on the E series, but you had more experience with them, so I think I should let you talk about them.
Yeah, I'll start with just like the statistics or the technical side of it, right? So what's different between the E and the C? The biggest difference, so it doesn't have the diamond face. That's one. More offset, right? So like you talked about, the C is going to reflect your swing in, out, fade, hook, whatever. While the E, it has much more offset. And you're starting to see this more often. Offset there, it's not super popular, but you're starting to see more offset in these kind of fairway woods and hybrids, right? To help stop those slices or help reduce the amount of left to right.
Well, and the higher end products too. I felt like for the longest time it was, and shame on golf for this. And I guess this is where Tour Edge and some other brands, credit to them. There are good players who want some offset. Bernard Longer is one of them. I don't know. Is he any good?
Yeah.
But they want some offset in their clubs, whether it's for a look, for performance benefit. So we are starting to see offset come into higher end clubs and realize like it's not just for you ragamuffin golfers who we're just happy to buy. We don't want you on our courses. Just buy equipment from us. Like, it's for serious, getting to the point where they're embracing serious golfers may want it and benefit from it.
Yep. 100%. So that's just from a dress, from the technology perspective, that's different. And then the big thing around what the E fairway wood has, along with all the other E series clubs, is the Houdini sole, right? That Houdini sole is increasing MOI, bringing the right. I'm right. Yeah. I attended last week's class, increasing MOI, pulling that center of gravity back even more, which means ball goes up higher, quicker. Right. And that's really the whole point of the E series, I feel like, is to make hitting a golf ball easier, which is good. And less punishing on not great golf swings, which is also a good thing, right? Yep. And so when we played in the match play, something you talked about getting used to the C521 fairway, when my ball goes right to left, that's weird. Right. And then, right, when I hit a draw, that's an oddity for me. That's almost an accident. And so I had to get used to hitting draws with these fairway woods and hybrids and drivers because of the offset, the forgiveness, the weighting that's involved. And they have made, I have yet to hit a club that's easier to hit than these. And the visual from it is a little more pancakier, like you kind of mentioned, right? It's a little flatter, and that's again to help with MOI and center of gravity and all those sorts of things. But didn't bother me. The offset doesn't really bother me either from a visual perspective, just at address. And I just thought they're just so easy to hit. It's again, we've said it before. It's a cheat code. They're really fun clubs to play. And the other quick thing I wanted to point out was around the way they shaped the bottom, the sole of the fairway wood for the E series anyways. It's to reduce that ground interaction. So it just slips through as you swing it. And it's just really kind of smooth and clean as you strike the golf ball.
It almost has like a pyramid shape on the bottom of it. So you aren't going to get 3 inches of sole digging through turf. You're going to scrape a little point through it and get a pretty good, solid middle of the face strike on the ball. Yeah, it's really true. And it's, they're just they were so fun to play. I really we joke about doing the match play again and swapping sets. Yeah. I would love to do that. Cause I would love to get your reaction to some of the shots you hit with the E stuff. Yeah. Oh, I think it'd be really fun. I'm up for that. I will say, bad news for me. You would get to use your EX220 fairway wood because we're giving the C5 away. Turnabout is fair play, Mr. Illegal club in the match play. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, right. You can watch the video for more about that. But right, it's fair. Interesting. One thing I want to point out as I'm looking at the shot data from my review, I was pretty dead on with head to head. Now, mind you, your 3 wood, I believe, was 15 degrees, and my 4 wood was 17 degrees. Yeah, it was half a mile an hour difference on club speed. I was actually about just under a mile an hour faster in ball speed with your fairway wood. So all in all, pretty comparable. I launched my 4 wood almost a degree lower than your 3 wood. And that's a testament, I think, to the ease of launch and Houdini sole, etc. Yep, that's the technology at work. Now, 4 wood, I should, in theory, get a little more spin than I would in a 3 wood. Mm-hmm. In your 3 wood, I had 300 RPMs more. And I also got, as a result, I had 2 more yards of carry, give or take. So I was hitting I was hitting these pretty dead on. Yeah. So the 4 wood I was carrying, the C521 I was carrying with a 12.3 degree launch, 251.7 yards, and your 3 wood, 253.4 yards. Wow. Total distance for my 4 wood, 269.5. Total distance for your 3 wood, 269.2. So it was like crazy. You might go 4 wood, 3 wood. They're very different flights, and they're very not apples to oranges. You're right. Not apples to apples. They are apples to oranges by definition here. Right. Different shaft in each of them. I would say the Fubuki that comes in that E series is a little smoother. Okay. Or I don't want to say game improvement in a shaft isn't really a thing, but I think for who this. And John Claffey himself said the E series is very much, hey, you want to start playing golf, you want to or get back into golf, you're terrible and you want good gear. that is a worthwhile investment and you can grow with, E-Series is great. I mean, I know a lot of people who are garbage golfers and they could put the E-Series in their bag and immediately be better. You know, it's
I mean, let's be clear. We both said after we didn't really keep a score per se. We were just playing match play, but like we played some really good golf that day,
right?
Both of us with brand new clubs that we hadn't really played before, and all we did was just all those clubs did was help us keep the ball in play, keep advancing it, and we shot. We scored. I mean, it was
yeah. Well, and our match play video showed. I think I probably had. I mean, albeit we have not talked about wingman putter in any of these hot launch things, but I mean, and then I think of how many of those putts I had just miss or lip out from distance. I'm going. I mean, I could have been shooting like season record scores here for the way it went just by putting clubs and doing the work for me. And I think the E-Series definitely does that. So point being, my 4-wood and that 3-wood were pretty comparable at the end of the day. I think I could shot make, if you will, a little more with the C-Series. The E-Series was a little bit of a one-trick pony, but that's what you want it to be. But if you found a way to get him as close, like maybe it's the same shaft, and I don't know what it is, but we took loft for loft, shaft for shaft, and put them head to head, I'd be sort of interested to see what they do. But based on our experience with these lines so far, I have a feeling they would perform exactly as they're built. Exactly as it says on the tin, as our English people friends say. That's how you talk. It's early show, man. Early show. But I think that was a big thing for me, was just, it's almost like C ball, hit ball, and the E-Series will just do the work for you.
Yeah. I think I mentioned it too, is I don't think I articulated it as well in the match play video, but for me, right, for my style of golfer that's been playing for whatever, 15 years or whatever it is, it kind of just simplified everything.
Yeah.
Like I didn't think about shot shaping. I didn't think about flighting. I didn't like see it, hit it, play it again. Like, and that's what those clubs to me, yes, they're great for beginners, but for someone like me, it just made the game easier, simpler, more straightforward. And I thought they were great. I was really impressed with them. So anything else, William?
That's about it. I think we're getting there with the hot launch. We still have hybrids to talk. I'm looking over at the posters. We have hybrids schedule to talk about. We have the E521 wedges that I'm trying to get you to help me out on. But yeah, we're winding down, and I feel like our message has been pretty consistent on these. And believe it or not, I know we have a lot of Tour Edge videos. I mean, for Pete's sake, this is the biggest club launch they've had in their history. I know you're going to hear that, and I don't know, shocking. I might watch other videos or read other people's golf content, and that's a consistent message that people are hammering. And I'll tell you this, while John Claffey often tells us this and reminds us of it, I'm not saying that in the sense of John's telling me and wants to hammer that point across. Like, it is a notable thing. There are so many clubs in this lineup. And I think I make up the number pretty much every time. Oh, it's like 75 different clubs, when it's not.
Right.
But there are a lot of them, and they've all been very, very good. I can't take that away from them. And there's a lot to talk about there. So they're getting a lot of coverage from us. And I've been so impressed with them. And I don't know how else to say it. It's a huge launch with a lot of clubs, and they're all good. And they're great, great deals.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah. All right. That, ladies and gentlemen, is Gear Talk.
All right. Good Gear Talk. A lot of Tour Edge HL 521 stuff to talk about. Still,
don't forget to enter this contest.
Enter the contest. Man, then we got to figure out how to get it to you. Oh, I didn't even think of that.
I don't have to figure anything out.
Yeah, right.
It's at your house.
I don't know how it showed up at Josh's house. All right. So we teased earlier in the beginning of the show, we have a guest on and a new segment we're working on. And it is with none other than my good friend out of Birmingham, England, Andy Gorman. We talk about him constantly on this show. In fact, he's been on this show in the early days, right about the start of the highly acclaimed Lockdown Golf podcast.
That's right.
He was a guest. He had to fill in for Kris, and we can't remember for the life of us why he had to fill in for Kris, but he did a great job. So we've decided, Andy's been so helpful with my golf game in the past, literally past year now. We are at a year of working with Andy, and he's doing a lot of great stuff out there in golf internet, golf with quotes on it, right? Golf internet, doing a fantastic job. So new segment for 2021, Ask Andy. And we thought we'd take a few minutes here to reintroduce Andy Gorman to the That Range Life, a show sometimes about golf audience. So let's throw over to that conversation right now. All right, we're here with my good friend and literal lifesaver, Andy Gorman of Andy Gorman Golf, out of we'll just simplify it because English, villages, counties, towns, it's so weird how it works. I can't even keep track of it. He's out of Birmingham, England, a place near and dear to my heart. Hey, how about Aston Villa this year? Am I right, guys?
Listen, Aston Villa's doing its little thing. It's doing it pretty well. Yeah, it's great. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've had Andy on the show before. We just did some math before the mics went hot, as Kris loves to say. And we think it was approximately show 10, could be way wrong, or episode 10, but Andy has been here before. Obviously, we've talked about him a ton. It's not a new name to anybody here. So I won't go too deep in my introduction of him. Andy, introduce yourself again for those who maybe aren't familiar with the show, and tell us who you are, what you've been up to, etc.
Oh, well, yeah, throw it to me. Why don't you? Yeah, thanks for the opportunity. It's been, something that I particularly enjoy being able to share, part of the journey that we've been having. And obviously from your point of view, Bill, we've helped you out with, one or two areas of your game that
or 14 clubs in the bag.
Yeah, allegedly, my forte is putting and short game. But when the need arises and you sort of reach out, I'm here to help. And so for 31 years I'm going into now, I have been a PGA professional here in the UK. I have been based around the world. I spent 5 years in Jamaica from sort of 97 to 2002. I do teach, do a little bit of international coaching, but invariably recreational coaching at my centre, just 5 minutes away from the Belfry, the hallowed turf of what was renowned as the home of the Ryder Cup for a long time, which wasn't necessarily all good and all bad. We mixed it around a bit. We shared a few points and a few victories, and a draw in there as well. But hey, but yeah, that's where I'm based, right in the centre of the UK. And I predominantly spend my time coaching, putting and short game, and one or two elite players then will have a little bit of work done on their swing. But it is putting and short game predominantly for me that I specialise. And look, there's enough trouble around the greens for me to not worry about coaching swing. So, and that's where, of course, we got together. You were having a few challenges around the approach shots into the green inside.
It's one way to put it.
I'm being English. For another way of putting it, you sucked from tee, up to 100 yards. Was not a problem, but from inside, you were struggling. So hey, and you sent me a few videos. I gave you a few pointers and put you on the straight and narrow again.
Yeah, that's all it was. Just a few pointers. That's all it took. I will vouch, and I feel like this is our MO in becoming almost like infomercial pitchy about the things that we decide we like, and we spend half a show just going, no, trust me, I really like it. Right. I'm not lying to you. And I think this is definitely one of them. But the good thing here is I can sing Andy Gorman praises up and down, and Andy can go, oh, gee, thanks. But Kris has seen the proof. He knows where it started. Now, like, it's not really, if I hit a real bad wedge shot, likening to the old days, it's either a mental lapse or like I just, misjudged something, didn't think about it. It's not the yip issue coming back.
See, I think that's like the biggest, what you just kind of described there is the biggest difference I've seen is that you don't let the bad get into your head the way that you used to. Like, I think,
Right.
yes, Andy helped you technically, but I think the byproduct of that is that you're much more confident in your successes and confident in your failures. Like when you fail, you're like, wow, that, like you said, that wasn't a yip. That was just me not hitting a good shot. Where before your brain would break. Like you'd hit one of those and you'd be like, here they are. Right. But now I think Andy's even fixed that part of it, which is
right.
incredible.
And it would bleed into the rest of my game big time.
For sure. Yeah.
I remember us having that conversation actually, in one of our, sort of Saturday afternoon, calls, and it was a short game
Sessions,
Saturday. Yeah, it was a session. Couch. It was lay down. It was.
Yeah, Andy's like, this isn't like a golf service at this point. This is like a humanitarian effort to make sure you're okay.
Right.
And I remember the conversation. Literally just, you felt like you had been able to process that. I've hit a bad shot, but I'm not going to let it affect me on the next shot. And that was like a turning point. And I think that was around about mid-February. We'd been at it for probably about 8-10 weeks or something in that, if I recall. Right. And there are these turning points where we have, I normally see around about a 6 to 8 week, point of reference where, the client the light bulb comes on, but it's more than just the light bulb. It's that the panic goes away. And I definitely saw that was probably the best way for me to describe it in a way that, folk will resonate, and that the panic goes away. That, oh, I've hit a bad shot, I'm going to hit another one, goes from that to, okay, I must have done this. The processing of what went wrong.
Or even if you don't know what you did wrong, it's knowing that, well, I did one of the 1,700 different things I do wrong, but I don't even know which one it was, but I do know the right things to not do something wrong next time.
Sure.
I'll just make sure I do all of those. How about that? And that's where I think, like in the old days, like, well, I'm doing this one thing and I can't stop myself from doing it. Now it's like, I don't even care what I did unless it's if it's something like, oh, I don't understand the greens correctly and I'm misjudging everything. That's different. And that's also arguably not a miss. It's
right.
It's that, like,
it's an
I don't know why I hit it fat. I don't know why it went that direction or that direction. I don't know why I bladed it. Like, now the difference is now I don't think that is necessarily going to plague me through the entire day. And even if it does, it's one day. Like it won't always be like this, because I know the 6 other things I just need to do it right. And I'll just over exaggerate those. And maybe I won't have like nice touch and be as good as I've gotten, but at least I won't have the yip thing. So I think, and it's funny, you said what you just said about how it's getting the confidence you're going to be okay is really what you're trying to beat here more than anything. And the first time we talked, might have been even in December, if not early January of 2020. And we were supposed to only talk for about a half hour. I think we talked for hour and a half, 2 hours. And you, like, that's what you kept hammering to me, is like, you're like, I'm not trying to make you get the ball closer to the hole, holing out and this great wedge player. What I'm trying to do is make you confident to not be scared. And that's what it is at this point. I'm just scared.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying you're the only coach in the world who's going to see it that way, but I think that's a big difference that I haven't seen with a lot of coaches I've dealt with. And so we're like, okay, you're struggling. Let's work on some mechanical things and some thoughts. And you went, nope, I just want you to not be scared. Let me work on that. And it worked.
Yeah, I remember that conversation, and there was a lot of it, but I think I spent a lot of time reiterating that. And, it was a case of, we have to see, as a coach, you have to meet the client where they are. Mm-hmm. That's the most critical part of being a coach. When a client comes in, if a tour player asks the question, can you help me? I'm in the middle of, the Middle East at the moment, and I'm doing whatever. By the way, I'm not in the Middle East, but they are about to start their sort of travels in the European tour. But if a clients called me there and said, help me, I'm struggling with my short game on putting, can you give me an idea? I can look at the video analysis, we can do the remote side of things. Well, what's going on in your head? Where are you at? These guys are maybe trying to make a cut, maybe trying to turn a cut into a contention and a contention into a win. So they're at different stages as well. And, yours was further back from that, but a good golfer, having lost his short game, feels like he's ready to give up the game. That's what you came to me with. And, I'm ready to give this over. This doesn't work. I'm ready to give it up. Now, I didn't really think that you meant that, but maybe you did. But that wasn't the point. I wasn't going to let you give up this great game, when I've got a chance to help you out with it. And, for me to spend an extra few minutes with you to do that, whether it's 60 or 90 minutes extra, is irrelevant. What was important for me was for you to be reassured that you're not in it on your own anymore. And that I feel your pain, albeit, not necessarily my pain feeling comes from a wedge, because he doesn't, my pain feeling, comes from a putter.
Yeah.
We can talk about that. I've been very fortunate that wedge play has never been a challenge to me.
Every time, like, my past. And I mean, I follow you. I watch we'll talk about all the things you do, but I watch your Insta show. You just have to keep sticking that dagger in that you've never had a wedge issue, and wedging isn't your problem. Like,
I've hit crap wedge shots, don't you? I can resonate with that, and I've hit all the shots that you've hit, but I've not had them affect me.
It's like, even though he's so much more accomplished, I hear him say it, and yet I still get like, I know I'm a bad wedge player. Stop it.
And what a lot of coaches sometimes, and I'm not to say a lot of coaches doesn't mean all. Okay, there's some great coaches out there that will resonate and go like, oh, well, I've never done that. A lot of the time we just need to take time out. I remember what it was like when we were beginners. Now that's a long time ago for me. 43, nearly 44 years I've been swinging a golf club. So, that's a long time ago. Can I remember all the bad shots I hit? No, because we parked them a long time ago. Can I remember some of the bad shots I hit? Yes. Can I remember sequences of bad shots that I hit? Yes. And can I remember them with a wedge? Yes, to a degree, before I started to become accomplished with the club. And, we only had 2 wedges in the bag back then, 4, 5, 6 these days, in some cases, or none at all in some cases, because we can't play them. But, however, wherever we are, as a coach, it's important to resonate with a player and understand where they are. Now, for me, my fortune was my pain. My fortune was my struggles on the green itself. When I'm hitting 16 greens in regulation and, proximity under 20 feet, dialing and knocking sticks out, and then 3-putting from inside 10 feet on, half a dozen occasions, you stand there and go like, I might as well give up. So I understand that side of the giving up and where it gets to you. And it comes in dips and, you've got your peaks and troughs. You play well, you shoot 65, next day you go out and shoot 75, and you go like, I played better today shooting 75, and I've just missed all these putts, I've left them out there. And that resonates when you can't get your short shots close enough to help the putter either. So, the pain, irrespective, I've had struggles off the tee, where I've hit everything else great and can't get a driver in the air or down the right-hand side of the course because you can only go low and left.
Yep.
Those experiences, I wouldn't say they were yips off the tee, but snap hooks are, no matter what they are, if you can't fade a snap hook, it just doesn't happen, So, but an interesting way of curing that was, a fellow professional here said, well, just hit a fade. Just, do you know how to hit a fade? And I'm like, well, yeah, we'll just hit a fade then. And then I'll make an excuse for the necky cut shot that I've just hit down 180 yards down the fairway and go like, I'm moaning and complaining. He said, you didn't snap it left.
Yeah.
This is the start point of the process. And now those experiences that I've had as a player become part of my experiences in coaching that then said, look, Bill, we stop now. That doesn't mean the bad shots stop, but the process of of how we deal with the bad shot, that changes. And that's where we then start to move you forward with conscious processes, you know, the things you need to think about, not the things you don't need to think about. Yeah, we tell you why there's a problem. We pointed out the reasons why the bad shots were coming there, but they're not for you to dwell on, for you to be mindful. Mm-hmm. But now the fix is what we're going to dwell on. That the fix is where we're going to get, you know, the measured results from. And that's the bit that, you know, you took on board. You had a lot of poor experience files to get rid of. You had to overseed the poor experience files, you know, before the new turf could come through. You know, that's for me, I think is an analogy that most folk, you know, if you're familiar with the overseeding program, the Bermuda is overseeded by, you know, a stronger strain of grass that is more capable of withholding the colder temperatures. That has to grow through, and then that dies off to allow the Bermuda through, you know, in due season. And this is a little bit like it, really. I think, you know, you have your old habits, you suppress the old habits with the overseeding of new, but now, you know, there'll still be some old stuff in there. There'll always be a little bit of old stuff until you've changed the grass structure on the whole course. And that's what, you know, where you are at this point now. That change happens. It doesn't mean you can't, you know, pop a bad shot in there, but you're familiar with now the techniques and the methodology to actually get the good shots in play.
And more simply put, just how it feels.
Exactly. You know, and how different feel and real actually is.
Yeah.
But then more importantly, what feel and real actually is, the reality of feel and real. And, you know, when we feel we're doing things, you know, we had an issue with regards to the weight distribution, you know, on back foot versus front foot. That was probably your biggest issue. And you know, until it was pointed out, you didn't know there was an issue. You felt you got your weight on the front side until it was pointed out to you.
Or especially how bad it was. And then when we found not only was it bad for my wedges, it was literally all 14 clubs in the bag. And I hit you up about my driver, and we're like, oh yeah, that makes sense. I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. And I forgot what, it might've been that, what was it called? The Pro Path putting mirror that we're all familiar with actually on this call. When I was doing my review for that or testing it, I think it was then when I messaged you and go, is this crazy? I feel like I'm putting okay, but I think I'm doing it with my putter too. And you're like, yeah, it's probably very, very possible. Focus on it and see what happens. I'm like, oh my God, I'm doing it with my putter. And I started focusing it on that change with a putter, and I started putting better. And it plagued every single club in the bag. And you found it. And this is where I could see the pessimist or the skeptic watching this and going, yeah, any golf coach worth their salt can figure that. I'm like, I don't care. This is the one who did, and I like him. Okay. And he helped me and made a big deal. So I'm going to tell you about him. Now, that said, Andy's helped me a lot. I like the way he tells his information and spreads the knowledge. He's just a good dude. So, Kris, one of your ideas for new content of 2021 is
we're going to have Andy on the show and do his own segments. To actually, so, you know, Bill and I have both sort of spoken about how, you know, we've caught your Instagrams, your shows, and we'll talk about all the ways that people can find you and things like that. But, you know, we wanted to kind of share you with our friends that watch the show, and incredulously you said yes. So
hey, why not?
So yeah, we're gonna every once in a while, Andy's gonna show up on an episode, and you're gonna teach you, and you're gonna go, you know, short game, irons, driver. You've got a nice little kind of idea mapped out, and yeah, just a little short. Here's something you can do to help this issue that is very common amongst us, really. And I think one of the real things that I have enjoyed watching your stuff and listening to you is that I think you have figured out a way to communicate to any level of golfer. So yeah, you've worked with the upper echelon of these golfers. You've worked with us who have been grinding, you know, on the municipal courses for 25 years. But then even if you're new to the game, which a lot of people are after this last season, your stuff can still relate, which is why I thought you'd be great to come on and do some of this stuff for our people anyways.
Yeah. And, part of that, for me is a challenge. That last statement you there, the beginner golfer, I haven't taught beginners for a long time. And partly the reason for that is because, how folk find me. And, there's a lot of referral platforms. So if you're new to golf, then how do you find out?
Yeah, if you're new to golf,
see?
You're probably not watching all these golf nerd YouTube shows and golf nerd blogs that people here may write on. Right. They aren't just quickly and easily stumbling. They're not going to howtoplaygolfbetter.com. Chris, get that URL.
It's gone.
Yeah.
It's already gone.
It is. I could see that being a hurdle.
But the hurdle is a great challenge because, for me, I can't assume that anything that I teach is everybody's going to get. There is no language barrier between England and America, but there is a language barrier between England and America quite significantly in terms of our nuances and
sure.
So there are terms and terminology that we have that differ even on the golf course. So whenever we look at this as a process, for me, it's a learning process for me as well. I will be very mindful of the terminology that I use. I can use golf language, but if we have an audience that doesn't understand our golf language, then we don't want to lose that. And we don't want to lose anybody to golf language. Once you've been there a little while, then that's fine. Take it on board. Here's an example that I don't feel uncomfortable with now because I've spent a long enough period of time. But there's a language on tour that is a nuance of tour speak. And it you hear guys. I mean, you'll pick it up on camera on TV. A guy's got maybe an 8-iron in his hand and he's playing from 165. All right, that's distance that we can, or 220 if you're Bryson DeChambeau, but with an 8-iron. So the distances are kind of irrelevant as to what these tour players are doing. Remember, they're the best in the game. But the crucial part of this is that you'll hear the caddy and they'll say 68, and it's like it's 168. They've just dropped the one.
Yep.
They're not saying 168 or 168. They've dropped it. Now, that might be a caddy player nuance, but it's up on the screen. It's in our ear, and we're looking puzzled as to what's being said. And it's just the subtle nuances, the terminology that player and caddy and coaches to some degree, will have, that if you walk into that environment for the first time, you go, oh, they're talking a different language, on top of the language of the European Tour, which can be mixed amongst much more international nations.
Sure.
You've got these other golf language that goes in there, and I'm mindful that I don't want that to happen with our audience. Already calling your audience my audience. With our audience.
They're yours.
I'm owning it. I'm owning the show now.
That's
so,
fine.
But ultimately, that I want folk to feel comfortable with the language that we're using. The golf language that is so, sophisticated in a way, but we want to keep it simple. And I had the best example of that, just over 12 months ago with having to work with Bill. I had to really simplify things. So, we started there. If Bill can get it,
I can relate to that.
I got it as simple as I possibly.
You're worse than I am, Chris. Don't even start with me.
But I mean, we're gonna the idea too is, and Andy offered this up, is that it'll be sort of an interactive show. So we're the segment's going to be Ask Andy. So if you out there have some flaw and you're desperate for a way to get it fixed, you can ask us in the comments of any YouTube channel, and we'll forward it to Andy. And that includes vernacular or language or terminology or whatever it may be. Yeah. And then Andy's gonna pump out a video all just for your question.
I would say, though, given without knowing what's going to be sent our way in terms of questions, I know Andy well enough. Just be prepared to send a swing video in if asked. Okay. I want to point out.
Yeah.
I want to point out one thing before we wrap up here with Andy. Very, very, very timely reference to a different language, if you will, on tour being caught by the mics.
Yeah, considering.
Did you hear about that yesterday yet?
At Hawaii,
yeah, it popped up on my Twitter this morning.
And we had a group text going yesterday about like, oh boy, not good. And let's just say we are our little group over here is very much in the crowd of don't talk like that. And I mean, we have potty mouths ourselves, but that's the line. That's a line for sure. Anyway, you also had the John Rahm outburst, and we were thinking, man, how happy is Callaway with their new signing dodging a bullet with his outburst because he got overshadowed by basically as far as you can go to be overshadowed.
Yeah.
With what John
done
Rahm
a good
did.
dodge for him, didn't he? But I don't know. I've only heard the rumbles of what happened with Rahm. I don't know the facts of what happened. So, literally like a rumble. But
it's 100%.
The overshadowing of
the Rahm outburst is like it's let's be honest, it's very relatable. It is 100%. Maybe not you, Andy, but it's 100% an outburst Chris or I would have on our Sunday public course get together. I won't even call it a round. And so it's very relatable. We're just not playing for millions of dollars on TV with no spectators like they are. No spectators we're used to, but we're not mic'd up. So it was very relatable. I mean, wildly inappropriate. And my mother heard me saying that on the golf course to Chris after I missed an 8-foot putt. She'd be furious and disappointed in me. But whatever. You just can't do it when you're in his case. But JT said, "Don't worry, I'll step in front of this for you, Rambo."
Yeah.
I'll take one for you.
Yeah.
All right. As we wrap up here, Andy, why don't you plug your Instagram, your online, all your online coaching efforts, your podcast? Tell us what we need to check out by you, where we can find you, etc.
Oh, well, I'm not going to look a gift horse in the mouth. So the opportunity, first and foremost, I'm here to help on a Friday afternoon. On GMT, we are 1600 GMT, so 4 p.m. in UK. And then, so obviously you've got a 5-hour time difference east, 6 in central, and 8 difference in the Pacific. So you can pick that up, but whatever you can't pick up live on Insta Live, then feel free to go and check it out because it will be sitting on IGTV. So it's specifically for Instagram at the moment. We may roll something onto Facebook, but if you follow me on Insta, then you're going to get everything that you need to know because we've got posts going out there on a daily basis. So you'll see what we've got to offer. Online coaching, if you want any kind of information with regards to online coaching, feel free to, I'm sure you guys will drop a link in their website, andygormangolf.com, and you can just do the inquiry, the lessons inquiry button there, and just ask about online coaching. If you reference this show, then I will put a promotion together for anybody who references to this show. I haven't even given it a thought. I didn't know that I was going to be had the opportunity to plug. Let's say, we'll do 20% discount off for anybody who references this show.
Listen, I don't know. we're not going to let you plug. You're a real friend, actually, right. Outside of the show stuff. No, we're not going to let you plug, Andy. And then, I don't know, a little something, 20% off. Like, God, highway robbery. Take advantage of that deal.
Yeah.
There you go. So, of course, I'm not telling you how much it would be ordinarily, but
So you're andygormangolf.com, and the Instagram account
is Andy Gorman Golf. Okay. You can follow me on Facebook and Twitter as well, but all the live stuff is out there on Insta. It's probably the most active channel at this point in time. But if anybody can follow, say hi, say you're a friend of the show, that would be great because it's always great to track where our friends are coming from, and if we know, then everybody gets a big up. So much appreciated. Thanks.
And you've got a podcast too, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, got a podcast. We go out on Monday, same sort of time, around about the 4 p.m. UK time. It's Andy Gorman Golf One Putt Podcast, and like I say, it's all about getting that single putt mindset. But we chat, we're a little bit like you guys. We chat shit about golf, but we predominantly keep it focused around putting and short game. But whatever's relevant, we do a tour talk process, and whatever's relevant, we'll talk about it. We get that out there every Monday.
How many episodes have you done now?
We're into the back 9 of round 2. So we got 18 holes around, or 18 episodes around. So we're into the back 9. So yeah, we're around about 28, 29 now. So nice. Yeah, I mean, and it started off as probably a little bit like you guys did. Just, here's an idea. Should we do a podcast?
Yeah, I remember. I remember like helping you like test out the gear. Yeah.
Yeah, it was literally, so why don't you do a podcast? Oh, yeah, why not? It was a little bit like, that's exactly how Insta, that Lockdown Live came about. It's like, well, why don't we just try it? We tried a Facebook Live, it didn't work. So we switched straight away to Insta. And I think we ended up with like about 90 people on. The first show, it was like, how does that work? And that's pretty much it. So, if you can catch us live, it'd be great to have you. And it's a free open question. It's open mic, ask as many questions as you like. I've got my good friend Gareth in my ear. So he dials in to me, and then so whenever I'm chatting away, answering a question, he's logging all the other questions that come through. And we just keep going until, it sort of gets, well, I could say gets dark, but it's dark when I start these days. Yeah, right. We just keep going. So we're running over an hour Insta Lives now. So
Gareth has started censoring me. I just want everyone to know that. I mean, not in the sense of my comments still show or my questions still show, but they let's put it this way, they don't make it to the boss to speak to. I'm like, Gareth, forget. I know the right people. I'm on it.
Yeah, Gareth can be replaced. Mrs. G is back home at around 4 o'clock, so he has to be careful. He knows he's on it. So,
at least
just so anybody who doesn't know, Mrs. G is my wife, Becky. And when we started this all off, we did a 2 o'clock in the afternoon show here because it was nice and bright, and we got outside and we were hitting golf balls in short sleeves. It was summertime for us, so it was a great opportunity to do that. And Becky would be literally in my ear, feeding all the questions through. I've had to sack Becky. Becky is now not quite frontline, but she's working for the NHS, helping with the vaccination program, through the centre that she works at. So, she's very much involved in the efforts, that we're working towards here in the UK. So, she comes in, she's a bit pooped by the time she gets in. She's on the go from before 8 in the morning. But she's doing a grand job there. She gets in, sort of showers and chills out, and then I'll come in and sort of lift up the day after finishing off on the Friday afternoon. But it's a great effort, and we've got, and Gareth's just stepped into the breach, and I can't. It's one of those things that initially I thought, see how it goes, and you can't do it. I tried the first one. Yeah, the questions just come streaming in. It's like, oh man, I can't do that. And it was, that from that first one, you try, your tech doesn't work, everything fails. It's like, oh no, this is just wrong. But, you learn from it, and it becomes part of your day. And, thankfully, with the online coaching that I've got, I'm busier, than we were during the first lockdown, where everything just shut down. I've still got plenty of space to be able to help folk out because of the way that we can work, and we time zones. We can take on much more in the way of online coaching. But it's I'm doing some learning. I'm in lockdown. I'm learning new stuff. I'm learning about new tech. I'm learning about every day is a school day for me, and that's one of the things that I really enjoy about the modern life that we live, is that we can learn remotely as much as I can help folk to learn remotely as well. So.
All right. Well, hey, Andy, thanks. And Kris, thanks for waking up early so we can, be 6 hours in the future.
Everyone start getting questions in.
Yeah.
Get them in.
Yeah. Start sending them in, and we'll put Andy to work. God bless him.
We will start, just a little shout out on that. We will start around the flat stick, partly because if you are in an area of the world that is in lockdown, it becomes appropriate to be able to practice at home. And of course, there's a lot of areas that are not in lockdown, but there's a bit of snow on the ground, or it's a little bit chilly to get out on the golf course. It's simple stuff that you can work on at home that will help you. So our first part of the series will be in putting, and then we'll move into short game, and that will coincide with us getting out on the golf courses again, I'm sure.
Awesome. Can't wait. Andy, thanks for joining us today.
Brilliant. Thanks for having me.
I'm probably more excited for the first videos to come than anybody. Can't wait. And if anything, just to like something to do. I can't wait.
Yeah.
Perfect.
All right, Andy. Thanks a lot, man.
Pleasure. Thanks a lot.
All right. So that was Andy Gorman, our new correspondent in the UK. Look how the show is expanding globally.
Global.
Bill, we're just
global golf institution.
Tell you what. So definitely, like, in all seriousness, Andy's he is here to help you. So get your questions in about whatever swing flaw or whatever golf question you have, and we will start collecting them. And we're just he's going to start pumping out videos for us, and it'll be little, shorter segments, just kind of quick hits. But thank you to Andy for being willing to do that for us. God, yeah. I mean, it's awesome. But I think it'll be a lot of fun. So, but it'll be most fun if he can answer the questions that you have.
As you like to say, make the show interactive.
That's right.
And I can't stress enough. And I know I'm a broken record, and it is what it is. He makes it so easy to understand and implement. I mean, I can't tell you how many times, whether it's an article, a quick lesson from someone I don't really know, or someone I do know, whatever.
Yeah.
How many times in my life I'm like, I hear what you're saying and it makes sense, but I can't feel it. I can't do it. I can't, it's not for me. It's not going to work.
Yeah.
That guy, I feel like, could tell me to go out there with a tennis racket on rollerblades, and I'd be like, oh, got it. Makes sense. And I could go play better golf.
That's right. That's right. So yeah, I'm excited about that one. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. Going, in the notes there, we've got all of Andy's information. If you want to go and follow him, which you totally should, hit his notification on Instagram. So when he goes live, right away to go and pull that up and listen and watch and ask questions through that venue too. So otherwise, that's it for episode 51.
Yeah.
That's all we got. Do the stuff, subscribe, like, hit the bell, all those good things, comment. And
if you haven't watched a match play video from this past Tuesday, go watch it. Don't forget to enter the contest for this Tour Edge Fairway wood that I played in it with. It's great free fairway wood. Just saying.
It's true. It's true. All right. That's the show. We'll talk to everybody next week. We'll see.
Bye, everyone.